challenging situation as a woman in leadership where you just felt like you didn't want to say anything, but you knew that if you did not say anything, it would end up costing you your career growth, your integrity, and your confidence? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you why you need to speak up for yourself as a woman in leadership and what happens when you don't. This is so incredibly important. I have countless times spoken to many women in leadership that struggle with this, and especially with my clients that I work with in a one-on-one setting as an executive coach. This is a struggle. And so I want to talk about it here on this video. You absolutely want to watch this video until the end, because I am going to give you a strategy that will help you to start feeling a bit more comfortable speaking up for yourself. Now, if this information sounds of interest to you, and maybe this is something that you've been struggling with, then you're always welcome to subscribe to the channel. I talk about more advanced level communication skills that will help you to stand out as a leader compared to everyone else, and to really be able to communicate confidently under pressure. Now, my direct audience that I work with in terms of my executive coaching practice is with women in leadership. However, on the accounts that I have, the platforms I have accounts on, specifically YouTube, Instagram, and on LinkedIn, I have men in leadership that are following my channel and subscribed as well. And I do want to welcome everybody being here, even though you may not be in my direct audience that I provide one-on-one services to. I know that you're incredibly passionate about leadership and communicating at a higher level, and I'm here to support you because the information I'm sharing with you truly does transcend gender. Regardless of what gender you are, this is going to help you in some way, shape, or form so that you can start speaking up for yourself. Now, why is this such a struggle? Particularly, women struggle with this, and I want to share with you what I've seen over the past 20 years as to why women struggle with this. But before I do that, if you're watching this portion of the video, you are more than likely watching the replay. So welcome, glad you're here today. There's usually a point in time on YouTube Lives where the audience will join, and I will say hello to everyone. Give me just a few moments so I can introduce myself or say hello, welcome them to the live, and then we'll go right into why this is an issue and what can happen if you don't speak up for yourself, and give you a strategy as to what you can do to start speaking up for yourself. So if this sounds like something, then feel free to like this video. It does allow it to get out to more people. And if you are really struggling with this as a woman in leadership, then contact me. The link is in the description below for a strategy session where we'll have a brief call and talk about where you are, where you'd like to be as a woman in leadership, and what are some strategies that we can do to help you go to that next level. I do want to preface this by saying hello, welcome, those of you who are joined today. Let me know if you've ever had a hard time speaking up for yourself. Let me know in the comments below. And let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from also. Now, speaking up for yourself, why is this a challenge? So I'll go in general. Why it's a challenge for people in general, and then I will specifically talk about why it's a challenge for women in leadership. Why is speaking up for ourselves a challenge just in general? Whether you're a woman or whether you're a man, why is this an issue? Many people struggle with speaking for themselves because they're afraid to do it. I think that of the very simplistic ways I can say is that they're very afraid to speak up for themselves. Why is that? Sometimes there may have been something that has happened potentially in their past where there was a comment that was made. Maybe they took a moment and spoke up for themselves, and someone made a comment to downplay what they were trying to say. And that instance, even if it happened in childhood, believe it or not, can still impact you as a leader and as an adult, where you feel just a bit more timid about saying hello or speaking up for yourself when situations may be a bit more challenging. Now, if you are struggling with communicating under pressure, I have a lot of videos on my live tab. So just spend some time on my live tab here on YouTube. There's a lot of information there to help you start learning how to communicate under pressure. Because sometimes when you're speaking up for yourself means that there's probably some form of pressure that's going on that might be just a bit challenging for you. And usually there's some form of pressure, and sometimes people are just not comfortable with it. So the reason is there's something that may have happened in the past where people just don't feel comfortable speaking up for themselves. Two, people just don't know themselves well enough. And this is what we work on in an executive coaching session. If you've never worked with an executive coach before, it will completely change your life. Not just because I'm an executive coach. I've worked with coaches myself. I have my own personal coaches I work with. But it will really change your life, because sometimes we don't know how to advocate for ourselves because we don't know what we really want. And I want to know from those of you who are watching this video, have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to advocate for yourself, but perhaps you just didn't know what you wanted? You weren't quite sure. You had maybe a lot of things in your head, but you just really were not sure of what you wanted to advocate for when you're trying to speak up for yourself. Let me know in the comments below. Before I go into the reasons why we mentioned this is a challenge and go into a bit more detail, I want to say hello to Red Dead Champion. Hello, welcome friend. How you doing today? Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you all are joining from today. And let me know, have you ever had a hard time speaking up for yourself? Ever? If you have, just put a yes in the comments below. Or if you want to talk a little bit more about it, I'm here to help you on your journey as much as I can for the next few minutes. Now, one of the things that you can actually do to prevent this from being such an issue for you is know what's important to you. Know what are your triggers, what are your non-negotiables that you have to speak up for yourself on. It could be something with your timing, it could be something with your schedule, it could be something personally, how you are communicated with. You have to know what it is. So let me say hello to Helen and Ryan Channel. Welcome friend. How you doing today? Let me know what part of Big Beautiful World you all are joining from. And if you have ever had a hard time speaking up for yourself, let me know. Hello. Welcome. Well, we talked about why I say issue. Why is this specifically an issue for women in leadership? Let's go into that. The reason why speaking up for ourselves is an issue for women in leadership specifically is because you have to keep in mind the roles that women are in right now that are the more administrative, more executive level roles. So specifically, this will be your C-suite executives like myself. I worked as a C-suite executive for a very long time, or your senior VPs, your directors, your managers, or etc. Women historically have not held these roles or these positions until recently, and I would say several decades ago. Therefore, if you, on a couple master classes on my channel, I talk specifically about this, the transition of women in the workforce. So many years ago, we were the switchboard operators. We were working in, or prior to then, we were working in factories, and we went into switchboard, and then we went into healthcare, and now we're in those very high-level leadership roles. And we have a hard time as women in leadership speaking up for ourselves because we are literally in territories that we have never been really exposed to before. We are just now seeing women stepping into these roles. We see women that are leaders of countries and etc. So we just don't know what to say. We don't know how to speak up because we are worried that, especially on the political side of things, who am I going to make mad? I'm new to this role. I'm a woman in this role. What specifically do I need to do? How can I navigate this and not make people upset with me as a leader? And I want to just mention to you all that, yes, this is something that women do struggle with, but you can speak up for yourself. You can. The most important thing I would say to you is that you have to put yourself in a situation where you are important. I tell my clients this in a one-on-one executive coaching session all the time. Think about when you fly on the airplane. And Jovic Channel, hello, welcome friend. I hope you're doing well today. And let's see, Helen and Ryan Channel are really now, but I will still. Okay, so I appreciate you all being here, and I know this is a short live. Definitely want to subscribe to my channel if you like this content so far, because I talk about leadership, communication, and helping you really stand out and communicate under pressure as a woman in leadership. But if you're a man in leadership, you're going to gain a lot of information here too. Now, I will say this: you can't advocate for yourself, but remember, when you go on an airplane, you have to take care of yourself first before you take care of anybody else. That is the way you have to do it. You have to take care of yourself. So knowing what's important to you, advocating for yourself is critically important. Understand that just because you're a woman in leadership, even though we are transitioning into new territories, and I thank you for those smiley faces and heart emojis and celebrations, just because we're women in leadership, that doesn't mean you can't speak up for yourself. So you absolutely want to speak up for yourself. Say what it is that's important to you. Now, if you're struggling with it and you don't know how to say it, what to say, then that's why you reach out to me. Sign up for a strategy session in the description below. We'll talk about where you are, maybe what you're struggling with, and how I can help you go to that next level on your journey in terms of communicating as a woman in leadership. So keep that in mind. You have to know what's important to you. Okay, number one. Number two, understand just because you're a woman in leadership, it's okay. We are in uncharted territories, and that's the reason why we have to work with each other and really build that community so we know how to communicate under pressure. And then finally, what can you do to communicate under pressure? Well, first, after you know exactly what it is specifically that you want to advocate for yourself about, you just have to say it. And if you're worried about how it sounds or the way it sounds, then repeat it several times, because this is something that will help you to rehearse and be more comfortable saying what you need to say. Now, I hope this information has been helpful to you all. I will be live a little bit later this evening. If you're just joining, welcome, welcome. I typically go live Tuesday through Friday, most of the time in the evenings, but I've started doing morning lives to help my audience. But let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you've ever struggled with this and how I can potentially help you. If you have a topic that you want to learn more about, then let me know in the comments below. I'll do a video just for you and give you a shout out. So Helen and Ryan channel says, I might leave later and you can call me Ryan. Okay, hello Ryan. Ryan, welcome, welcome. Well, Ryan, glad you're here today. Appreciate your dialogue also. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all in the next video. And Helen and Ryan said, I did. Okay, great. Fantastic. Well, I'm glad you're here. Welcome, welcome to the group. I will see you all in the next video, and I'll see you a little bit later this afternoon. Continue to remember, you can speak up for yourself. You just have to do it. Have a great day. Bye.